For one full week in the campaigns leading to the 2020 presidential elections in Tanzania, opposition candidate Tundu Lissu was not able to campaign. He was actually barred from campaigning by the country's electoral body over some remarks he made in one of his rallies. The Tanzanian election authorities said that those remarks went against the rules and regulations of political campaigns in the country. Now, looking back, those remarks he made are super fascinating. Because those remarks which got Lissu into trouble have ended up being a prediction that has come to pass right before our very eyes. So, what is it that Lissu said? Actually, Lissu predicted that President John Pombe Magufuli would rig the elections. Yeah, and that upset the authorities so much that they had to take action against Lissu. Action that is in fact unprecedented. Where have you heard, a presidential candidate getting banned over remarks they make during campaigns? Mounting evidence coming out of Tanzania, including video footage, documents, etc., is already conclusive, even before the presidential election results are announced. The Tanzanian presidential election has been stolen. I guess that is one of the disadvantages of having a lawyer as an opponent, and quite a good lawyer at that, when you want to rig an election. Because clearly, Chadema and opposition presidential candidate Lissu prepared his team well in advance to collect evidence. And clearly, Lissu prepared so thoroughly that even the shutting down of the internet in Tanzania, shortly before polling started, did not stop this exercise of gathering evidence. It is one thing for a presidential candidate to claim to the world that an election has been stolen from them, and it is quite another for that presidential candidate to produce lots and lots of conclusive evidence that that is precisely what has happened. In 2013, in Kenya, the opposition claimed, that Jubilee, the then Jubilee coalition, did not actually win those elections. But when the case went to the Supreme Court, it was clear that they were scrambling all over the place, trying to get evidence. Evidence that would stand up to the very high threshold required to overturn a presidential election result. And thus they failed. Had they hired Tundu Lissu as their lawyer before voting started, maybe things would have been different. What the Lissu team has done in Tanzania has opened an entirely new arena for opposition candidates right across the African continent, who face incumbents with all the state machinery behind them to deal with rigging. This is a game changer. Now, regulars on this channel will remember that in a previous video, I showed you a document that proved that the voter registration numbers in Tanzania cannot be correct. A total of 29 million registered voters against a population of about 56 million. In other words, over half the population registered voters. What? Now, this is interesting Because the results coming out of Tanzania are showing that the incumbent, President John Pombe Magufuli, is winning by a landslide. Now, when you look at past successful cases on the continent of Africa in stealing presidential elections, one thing is very clear. The rule of thumb is always make it a narrow victory. Former President Moi did it very successfully in Kenya in 1992 and 1997. In both instances, if you combined Moi's votes with those of opposition candidates vying separately, the opposition had more votes than him. But he still won narrowly. I believe the idea should be always to make it difficult to challenge your stolen victory. Because people can be suspicious and people can even have evidence here and there. But your victory is believable. Even to the public and the ordinary citizen, it becomes believable. What has been done in Tanzania is not believable. What all this means is that the ruling CCM party in Tanzania now have a very serious problem in their hands. Some Tanzanians have even been sending to the ICC, the International Criminal Court at The Hague, everything and anything that they think is evidence of crimes against humanity during this campaign period. And this could not have come at a worse time for CCM and President John Pombe Magufuli, because the Tanzanian president, in just 5 years since he was first elected in 2015, has managed to accumulate a very impressive list of powerful international enemies. At the end of the day, irrespective of the facts, politics is everything, and everything is politics. And so I would not be surprised if some of these enemies of Magufuli are right now rubbing their hands in glee. There are some things you don't do when you have so many enemies on the international stage. Founding father and first president of Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, also had many powerful enemies. But he was smart, he was careful, and he even ended up surviving multiple coup attempts in Tanzania, of course engineered from outside the country. Unlike Magufuli, Nyerere was not a bulldozer. Nyerere even outsmarted the brutal apartheid South African regime. You see, Nyerere made a decision to host the African National Congress, ANC, freedom fighters in Tanzania. They had camps within the country. Indeed, many of the top officials traveled the world on Tanzanian passports. And so he was a high priority target of the South African regime. But he survived by being careful and by realizing that there were some things he could not do because of his circumstances. Clearly, Magufuli has not been careful. And this is very sad, because he has many admirers on the continent of Africa, including yours truly. His fight against corruption, the way he has stood up for his country against the politics linked to the Wuhan virus, has endeared him, Bwana Magufuli, to very many, right across the continent and beyond. But as a result of the latest developments in Tanzania, all that could change, and indeed maybe it has already changed, in a flash. And even as many Tanzanians on the ground cheer at this latest development, especially supporters of the opposition Chadema, the big picture is that this is not good for Africa. Because for starters, the gains made on behalf of the continent by Magufuli will be completely lost. as foreigners invade. And they now have a viable excuse to sort out the election mess. But once they have a foot through the door, that's it. Africa is done. Tanzania is done. Whatever happens after that. And that is why the only logical solution is for Tanzanians to close ranks, and sort out their own problems internally. And of course, the lead has to be taken by President John Pombe Magufuli and CCM. They have to quickly swallow their pride and invite the opposition to the negotiation table and sort out this mess like yesterday. Pronto. The CCM party and President John Pombe Magufuli must realize that insisting that they've won and coming down hard against anybody who says otherwise is not a viable option right now. It isn't. It won't work. The mounting evidence is too damaging. And to make matters worse, the draconian ways of the Magufuli administration since 2015 have taken their toll. Tanzanians now are fed up. Coupled with the hardships Tanzanians are suffering right across the country, it is safe to say that the people have been pushed to the wall. And this clearly came out in the campaigns, where we saw people walking away from campaign meetings of President John Pombe Magufuli and thronging to the meetings and rallies of Tundu Lissu. You cannot rule people against their will. You can't. History clearly teaches us that. And so the options for President Magufuli and CCM are few, and they're reducing by the day. There is a very small window of opportunity for disaster to be averted for Tanzania and indeed for the entire continent of Africa. Our prayers are with Tanzania and the good people of that nation. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.